Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
It has been long overdue to expose the truth that the Democrats and Republicans are sucking the life out of America's liberty and usurping our rights at every turn. Now is the time to seize our civil liberties and take back our individual rights. Here on Southern Liberty, we will expose it all. With his musket on his back, the Declaration of Independence in one hand, and the Constitution in the other, here's your host, Roderick Threets.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to another lovely edition of The Experience today here on the Southern Liberty feed. Hope y'all had a great Tuesday besides all the rubbish and everything else in the news, and hopefully you stayed ducked under the noise. But if you wanted to stay informed today is one of those days that it was kind of fruitful and it did you some good. So with that, before we even get started and roll into this, let me go ahead and introduce my lovely co-host, Miss Valerie Zen. What's going on, sister girl? What's good? How you doing?
I'm in a bullfight.
You're in a bullfight? Toro? Toro!
Well, you are the Taurus. You are the bullfight. Happy birthday, Rod. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that thing. Geez. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That thing, something I just love is a little bit of astrology. Not because it means anything in terms of real reality, but it has always interested me that when I meet someone and I ask them what sign they are, it tends to fit their general nature really on target, really well. So today, I figured we'd have just a few minutes of fun at the beginning since you're a Taurus.
Oh, Lord.
And it's your birthday.
Oh, that's double trouble.
I would say that this really, really, really fits your personality. And I know you pretty well.
Yeah, you know me a lot better than most. That's the truth.
I know you pretty well. And, you know, you are a real earth, element. I'm an earth sign as well, it makes it actually easier. When all the earth signs speak to each other, we have a very easy way of understanding each other's way of thinking, as opposed to speaking to an air sign or a water sign. They're pretty out there and on a whole other level. Right. Where earth signs and sun signs really connect, I think, personally, easier. But so here you go. You are smart, ambitious, and trustworthy. Those three things do absolutely fit you to a T.
I don't know about those three characteristics.
Well, I think you've grown into it. You may not have started out that way, but we grow into this stuff. It really does become who we are. Mm-hmm. So Taurians value honesty above all else and are proud that their personal relationships tend to be, well, drama-free. No, none of us have drama-free lives right now. So that just sort of, let's see, a bull, which is your zodiac sign, is never afraid to roll up those sleeves and get to work and won't blink an eye at pulling an all-nighter to get the job done.
Yeah.
Anchored by the earth, this passionate sign is all about, are you ready? Sensuality. And is always seeking out pleasure.
Oh, shit.
Whether they're indulging in luxurious massages, spending hours in bed with their lover, or going on a long run, Taurians love feeling present in their body and frequently need to get in touch with their physical self. Now, I heard you on the radio last night, and you were really very in touch with your sensual part of yourself. Okay, so let's just get to the money and success, and then I'll move on. Taurus' greatest career strength: persistence. A Taurus will look at a project Break it down into steps and get things done, even if it means burning the midnight oil. Taurus never utters the words too busy and quickly becomes a cherished member of any work team. That's you. That's you. Right? And what is your secret weapon?
But there's no lie there. I can't say there's a lie told there.
Right. So here's your secret weapon: willpower. Think of its symbol, the bull, or even a bulldozer, and you've got an idea of how Taurus gets things done. They push, roll over, and dominate whatever challenges they're facing until those challenges are history. They're also a model for perseverance. When a bull decides to do something, they get it done. There you go. Now, I mean, I'm just saying, when I read my Capricorn stuff, I read it and I go, whoa, that really is me. So I just look at it never from a day-to-day thing or anything anti-religious or all that stuff, but the personality nature seems for some reason having an alignment with nature, the stars, and when you were born, time of day you were born. It really does affect who you are. I think it does anyway. My opinion, just my opinion.
I think it does to a point.
Yeah, it's just a general, flash of a personality.
Right, a snapshot into a personality.
Yeah, it really is. Very interesting. And I have a number of books on relationships with the signs that kind of match up best with you and the ones that are just going to be trouble from the get-go. It's just interesting because I think it's pretty stable in terms of science. It's very scientific. And we have to always trust the science, right?
Oh, trusting the science.
Okay. So speak about, the bullfight. The bullfight. So we have a bull and we have the matador, right? And the matador is always flashing that red flag, that red moving blanket. So I looked up today and I said, well, I guess a bull sees red. At least that's what I grew up understanding. And they actually don't. They just see the movement of the flag, the blanket, the whatever it is. They just see the movement and they go after it. And I would wonder in today's world, who is the bull and who is the matador? Interesting to think about because, you could, actually, the matador, his job is to wear the bull out. The bull keeps coming at him and coming at him, but he can be smarter than that giant, I don't know what they weigh, 1,500 pounds. They're huge.
Right.
And a man is a man. So the point is to wear the bull out with his insanity and his reckless just running after that stupid schmata, right? Well, think about that may be what's actually going on right now in our world government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're a bull, and there's no getting around it, and we're in a bullfight. So, I was thinking today about how we're all being bullied.
Right.
We're being bullied, right, by everything. Every force in the world is trying to bully every other force in the world.
Right.
I don't. Right. I mean that's it's the intensity of this moment right now. We are in a bullfight. This is very appropriate, on so many levels. So, like AI is inputting all the information they want you to hear. and they just leave out the truth. I don't know who saw Tucker Carlson's little piece today, but he came right out on Twitter where he says he has freedom of speech. That's cool. And he did this like little monologue, and boy, did he give it to Fox. And he said what he said, and he meant it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think Megyn Kelly also came out with something rip-roaring about the truth and what she was forced to leave out or forced to include over the top what she really didn't want to. And, you know, this is the control over the narrative in terms of what we get to hear and what we don't get to hear. And just take a look around right now at how many people you run into that have no clue as to what is going on in this moment, in this particular moment, in one day.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, that's our reality. Also, I was reading that they just decided that the New York Post is not allowed in the press conferences anymore.
Yeah.
The questions are just too hard. You know, the press secretary, she's intolerant of our stupidity. She knows more than we do. She has no patience for us. Do you ever look at her body language?
Uh-huh.
What's her name?
Karine Jean-Pierre?
Yeah, there it is. That's her name. She has, like, no name to me because I just look at the little clips that are presented to me and I'm just turned off.
Right.
I mean, her body language is like Obama body language and saying, I don't have time for you, you're wasting my time, I don't like you, and just shut the hell up. She needs to say nothing because that's what she's saying with her body language.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're deciding who's allowed in to even give some sort of reporting to the stupid masses like us. That's a pretty sad state of affairs because I don't recall any particular news. They might not have called on them, but they were all allowed in to at least report what they heard.
Right.
Now, no more. No more. No more. You just shut up, go away. That's today's news. Shut up and go away. So, you know, they're cyberbullying the public. Okay, so today, what an example. Just look at Trump. Oh, my God. He didn't get indicted for rape, but they got him on charges of molestation, and she's going to get $5 million from him. That bastard. Huh? Did anybody notice that Hunter Biden is about to get indicted? And even if it goes away, this is all leading up to massive news. Clintons, Obamas, George Soros, the whole world, nuclear bombs. Don't look here. Look at what Donald Trump did again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, we're going to get him.
Yep.
I mean, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing to the public.
It's
what
pathetic.
An insult.
It's pathetic.
It's pathetic. It really...
It's the blue flag, right? Blue flag comes out. Toto! Hey, look. Yeah. Oh, look. We got Trump under this flag. Wait, what? What? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Trump. Oh.
But we're not going to say anything about Epstein's Island and all the big politicians and bankers and world figures that were running there and they're pedophiles. Oh, no, we're not going to say that. But look at Trump. Look what Trump did. We caught him. And I mean, the story is just so unbelievable. They're choosing to entertain us with their lives. And they want us to stay focused on that. Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's a video I saw a little while ago, and I reposted it on Instagram, where the guy the guy talks about the athletes and how how no one is worth $6 million a year, But what they do, they pump that money into that person because he or she is the spectacle of the time, right? And that's a distraction, right? From what they were doing. He was kind of referring to the Colosseum, right? How they would bring in Constantine and other popes or other rulers would bring in the Christians into the Colosseum to fight, to be bludgeoned, to be killed, right? And they would pay these gladiators to do it. Kind of the same thing with these Democrats. They manufactured the shit show in the Colosseum we call American politics and get everybody, look, Toro, blue flag, Toro, look over here. And look, here's the thing. Here's a funny thing, right? Everybody looks when the blue flag is waving, even the people that represent the red flag, because they want to see what they're doing. But you know what? When the red flies the flag, the blue people aren't paying attention. They're scheming behind their flag on how they're going to undermine the red flag.
Total scheme. Do you know what the red flag is called, though, in bullfighting? I had to look that up.
The red flag. Let me think. I
was trying to figure it out, so I said, I'm going to look this up. I forgot. Are you going to look it up? It's called the muleta.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it. I can't really look it up because I'm not on the internet on that side.
Oh, okay. It's called a muleta, and I didn't know that. And I thought that bulls saw red, and then I read, no, they can't see any colors. Yeah, they're bulls. And if they castrate them, they're cows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you learn a lot when you start looking this stuff up. I decided to go someplace else with all of this. So, let's see. I would say the Marxist ideology is the biggest act of bullying on the planet.
Yes, right? The Marxist agenda, period. Yep.
Period. Yeah. Hey, the white liberals brought us this climate tranny shit into a violent, hell-bent, we're going to put you in jail movement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagine. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to put mothers and fathers into prison if they don't destroy their children. And they're going to shut down your bank accounts or your ability to buy gas. They're going to take your appliances, your everything, because the earth is being destroyed because of us. You know, I think it's so important in this environment that we're in now to stay focused on this, that this is all bullying. And it's bullying coming from especially the media that unfortunately we're affected by every day. It's impossible not to stop and say, oh, what's happening now? And then you got to change the channel in a moment. You just have to start with, this is probably garbage. As soon as you say that, it's done. It's off your shoulders. So think about, what would you say is the biggest bullying that's been done to us over the past 2-3 years?
I mean, look, it under that same umbrella, we have to say Marxism, right? Because it's either, right, the biggest one is the cultural Marxism, right? That's the biggest. The second part of it is the economic Marxism, right? Because remember, right, Karl Marx, he even said in order to usher in communism, right, you have to use free markets to do it.
Yeah.
So what did the United States do? They invented this new word called free trade capitalism, right? We know that's an oxymoron. So they can say, "Oh, we have a capitalist economy that allows for innovation and free trade," but really, at the tippy top of the whole thing, the people making the regulations, right, are part of the energy climate change Marxist agenda. So what do you have now? Right? What do you have? I mean, look at what's happening with the DOE. They're trying to change the water capacities of washing machines.
Well, they tried that a few years ago and it didn't work. And now they're just going back to where they started.
And that's what I'm saying. So with free market capitalism, right? Free trade, free market capitalism, right? Capitalism needs regulation in order to work correctly. That's just it. It's a regulatory thing. You can't get around that. So they put free trade or free enterprise in front of it to make it, oh yeah, it's free. It's not, people. It's not. Don't get fooled by the blue flag in front of free trade. Now, going back to what I said about Karl Marx saying you need free trade, right? To usher in free trade in order to bring in communism. Right. So now with that being said, now we have the regulations of capitalism under the guise of a free market stifling innovation, like in the residential appliance or the appliance arena at this point. Right. The school education. Right. You got the cultural Marxism. The education falls under cultural Marxism because in order to have these people running around with these dispositions at 17 years old about gun control and they haven't even got out of diapers yet, you know that came from the school. No. Right. So yeah, so it's all encompassing. If you really look at the whole Marxist agenda holistically, you can point out the same agenda of, CRT. CRT is part of the cultural Marxist agenda.
Sure
DEI,
is.
same
think
thing.
Think about, Rod, how they slipped this in, though. I mean, yeah, it was a slow climb through all of our lives, but they slipped into COVID. And 3/4 of the world was bullied into these COVID fears and vaccinations. And they locked down and they masked their faces and they took these vaccines and they destroyed our kids while they were doing it. And this was the biggest, most obvious act of Marxism we could have ever been involved in. Mm-hmm. And yet, people to this day don't see it that way.
No, they don't, because they have been told, right? They have been told that they should trust said government.
That's right. That's right. And not only that, but the AMA and doctors followed lockstep what the government said and got all their patients indoctrinated. And I just want to step out with one quick little story. I had all my blood work done this past week, and the doctor calls me and she says, this is a new doctor. It's taken me 1.5 years to get a doctor here.
Wow.
And she says to me, I'm very pleased with everything except you have very high markers for rheumatoid arthritis. Now, I had brought her my blood work from 2 years ago, and there it was. I said, how is it that the last doctor never mentioned this to me? I didn't even know what it was. I'll be honest with you. I went through it. It didn't stand out to me. I didn't know what it was. And all this time that my hands had been hurting, this sped up the whole process of it getting worse, where if I would have caught it back then, something could have been done. Now, here's the interesting part. The doctor says to me, okay, I'm going to prescribe some hydroxychloroquine. I said, what? Did I hear you right? No, this is, you could just for real see this. She says, yeah, I'm going to give you the lowest dose. And I said to her, I'm just thinking you might have a hard time getting this. She doesn't answer me. So I said, you know what? What do I know? She's the doctor. I don't know anything. So here I am, Saturday afternoon, which is why I missed your show. I go to the public pharmacy, and the pharmacist says to me, we're having a hard time with this prescription. I said, oh, really? Now, I'm just going to step out. I ended up getting it, but I'm just going to step out of this. How is it that the doctor didn't know what it was and what it was tied into, and that this would be a difficult scenario, and she would have to change what she wrote and write it some other way and do some, back dancing in order to get this prescription filled?
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, Miss Val, and I talked about this. We've talked about it on the show. Me and Kel's talked about it on a few shows. I've even said it on the individual solo shows I've done, right? About the hydroxychloroquine bit, right? Back when it was a thing, and then people were mistaking that the fish aquarium cleaner with the hydroxychloroquine, right? Or that whole thing, right? Yeah. And those stupid people in Arizona drank it like, oh yeah, no, not the same thing. But anyway, anybody with common sense would know that, right? But these people didn't have common sense, and they almost died at it. But anyway, one did die. The guy did die. She didn't die. But anyway, I digress.
Well, now I won't get malaria, and I won't get COVID.
But here's the thing.
I'll stop the progression, right? That's all I want to do.
Right.
I don't want to get.
But see, here's the thing. You know the real reason why they limited hydroxychloroquine. You want to know the real true reason?
They wanted people to get injected.
Well, not only that, but hydroxychloroquine is also, right, treats rheumatoid arthritis and any other arthritic functionality, right, in your bones. It treats that, right? And remember, right, if they're injecting this jab into your body, it's going to your bones and your bone marrow to help change your DNA, right? And make your bones weaker, immune system weaker, cause arthritis, right? You can't have hydroxychloroquine in your system. And I'm not a medical guy, and I understand that. Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I never took the other thing. Well, and also think about the fact that it's been used for like 50 years.
Yeah, 50 plus, yeah. For many different things. Why would you be
afraid? Yeah. Listen, it was just their way to push forward the one path, the one way. It's my way or the highway.
Yeah, right. And look, they even people don't want to talk about it amidst this pandemic. Right, that just ended. Right, like I watched the C word, but they were literally testing remdesivir on people.
Oh yeah,
right, and people were falling out like bye bye sayonara, pine box sayonara. Right, and then all of a sudden that drug gets FDA approved, and hydroxychloroquine is still pushed to the back.
Well, free market, right? I mean, they gave us all that stuff for free.
Right.
Right? And look at how much money the hospitals made and the doctors made.
Man.
And, oh, my God. I mean, really?
Look.
It's like the big corporations
Trillions.
And the big banks. It's so right online.
Look, you know what I love, Miss Val? You know what I love, Miss Val? Is when the people say that people say we have to fight the corporatism, right? We got to fight corporatism.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are feeding the corporatism with the Trump taxes. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you guys just literally boosted corporatism by at least $20 trillion during the Rona.
Yeah.
Like, don't come, and it was your government, your bureaucrats in government behind Trump's back that were doing it.
Yep.
At the cost of human lives. Now, don't play with me, y'all. Don't play with me when y'all talk about we gotta do the corporatism and the Trump taxes. No. No, not when you cost people's lives for the almighty dollar to push a syringe on a bunch of people that really didn't need it, and now you have snuck it into the child schedule, right? Guess what? The public schools are about to lose a lot of money when people find it's on the schedule.
They don't care. I heard a broadcast, somebody talking about how all these demons have built tunnels underground, and they're all stocked up with food and water, and they're ready for the bombs to go off. I mean, you know, unfortunately, we are the Russian serfs right now, and it has nothing to do with your money or where you live. You know, people are running to, and I understand the need for tribalism. I really do. I would want to live in a place where people are more normal than less normal. I wouldn't want to live in a blue state. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Right.
I just don't. I just have this feeling, this knowing that it's all going to come down on all of us, and the people that can survive will survive. And at the end of the day, the government, the people that are running around right now that are all installed and just stole whatever, they stole their places in government, their plan is to get rid of all of us.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Look at our border.
Yep.
Look at our country, our finances, it's just who thinks for 1 second that this savage demonism that's being unleashed on us at the border, that we should just accept it and well, right now I think the goal is to just stay out of the way, because we know this can only be a horror for our country. There's just no other explanation. You know, Chinese nationals, and I was watching Greta Van Susteren. She used to be on Fox. I think she's on Newsmax now. She's on down Newsmax. At the border.
Yep.
Yeah, interviewing like all the nice families. She said, "Why did you come here? Did you know how hard it was going to be? No. Are you afraid to go over that Darien Gap? I hear it's dangerous." No, God will protect us. No, we're going to do this. We've been traveling for like 2 months now. They all look showered. They all look well fed. They all have nice clothes on. They're all like hanging out, you know, under trees, and you know, I see them serving food to them, hot food. They set up, you know, what? It's like the denial of what's really happening. So in our faces, we're being overrun by the Chinese Communist Party. Yep. And the plan is to take over, and those idiots that are going underground into their tunnels to hide, you're going to blow them up too.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but whoever thinks, if this comes to pass as bad as it can get, I'm not saying it will, but should it happen? Those suckers in there that fell for the CCP and fell for this bullshit, they're in big trouble. I hope they enjoy themselves underground, because I hear the sun is really nice down there. Oh, you know, I always think, and we all talk about, gee, I wish I could go back 20 years. You know what? We can't.
No, we can't.
And we never will. Nope, we never will. We'll never go back 20 years. It will never be the same.
We're at a point. We're truthfully at a point where the old worn out expression, crossing the Rubicon, we've already crossed it. Mm-hmm. We at this point, we have to get into a mode to mitigate collateral damage.
Yep.
Right? And actually hold a line. And actually hold the line, and no more, let them know, hold the line. They've been saying that. You remember back in the early Trump days, we got to hold the line. We got to hold the line. Look, that line has moved how many times?
Too many.
Right? That line, right? Because here's the thing, right? What people that sat here and hollered, hold the line, hold the line, hold the line, right? They didn't realize that the government is going to throw a reset at them. Mm-hmm. Right? They let them hold the line, perceived line, while on the backside they were trying to figure out how to get them off of their back. Well, lo and behold, January 6, 2021 happened. That was the reset. Now the line got moved.
Yeah.
Right? That defense line got moved because the federal government installed people into the factions and they were not paying attention. Right? Like straight up, I was telling a guy earlier today, I was like, look, I said, you can start a movement, start a faction, but you better run it like the mafia.
Oh, you bet.
You better run it like, you better screen every mofo that comes in and out of there. You don't let every mofo know your ins and outs, except for the two close capos to you. Everybody else is on need to know basis. And if you know too much, you might get a 38 slug in your forehead. If you know too much.
Act like military intelligence. Act like military intelligence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I got to waterboard you to figure out you ain't a snitch, I'm going to waterboard the shit out of you. Like, straight up. That's real.
And tell no one.
Yeah, and tell no one.
And tell no one that you did it. Yeah. I mean, you know, I was listening to this guy last night, and I don't even know who he is. And I'm glad I don't know who he is. He was on a show, and he was from military intelligence. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know, too many people are running around thinking, oh, we got to get Biden and the Clintons and the Obamas and George Soros. He says, He said, this captivation, this operation to catch all of us is worldwide. It's everywhere. It's every city in the world. It's everywhere. He said, this is something that needs to go to the military courts, military tribunals. This is not about these idiots that you see running around us. It's so deep. It's so much bigger. I was sitting there listening to this like, oh my God, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
I mean, and look, when you have people getting arrested and charged with crimes when they're not in certain places, right? And we've talked about Enrique Tarrio, right? But I want to bring up one guy before we go to break, right? Andrew Tate. Andrew and Tristan Tate. They got arrested, right? For quote unquote basically being misogynist. They got arrested for being misogynist. Right? And they were in jail for over 2 months because they were labeled misogynist. And then check it out. And then check it out. Then turn around and was like, well, we're holding them for their safety. What?
What about all the murderers running around on the street?
What?
The people have been rapists and arrested 9 times and they're running around the streets. What are you talking about? Yeah. It's not supposed to make sense anymore.
That's the thing, right?
Not supposed to.
People have to understand, right? People have to really understand that these people, they blot on a ballot. They're not on your team.
That's right.
They're not on your team. Period.
Nope.
I mean, again, I brought it up yesterday. And I'm gonna bring it up again because I have some freedmen that are actually listening for the first time that's out there. I'll shout them out here when we come back from break. But like I said before, these Democrats swear up and down that we gotta give these black folks reparations and this, that, and the third. But here we are. The president unilaterally stepping around Congress to try to raise the debt ceiling to spend more money in countries like Ukraine. Well, if you can do that, you could have raised the debt ceiling to pay reparations.
You could pay everybody.
That's
with monopoly money.
Right. But that's the point. But these other people, that these diehard blue flag matadors, as we're going to call them, they sit there, no, because we got to support Ukraine. But I thought you were anti-black and you were BLM. So I guess they only matter when it's time for them to vote blue, when you throw that blue flag like a matador in their face. That's the only time you care about them. You don't care about the reparations and the quote-unquote suffering they've had, as they claim, from 1619, right? This is their language, not mine, right? From 1619, they suffered 400 years, right, of oppression on this soil, but you worried about raising that. You're making it a good thing that Biden is trying to raise the debt ceiling unilaterally through the 14th Amendment to send more money to Ukraine instead of giving reparations to these people. This is how you know the whole game, it's rigged.
It's a bullfight.
It's a bullfight. We got to go to break. So we got to pay the bills this time and do the thing. So you already know what to do. Get your cheese, wine, and crackers ready. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this bullfight. We're going to take the bull by the horns. And we might even give you a solution to getting ready those flags. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be back here on 6 on Southern Liberty.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock indexes ending the day in negative territory. The Dow down 57, the S&P down 19, the Nasdaq falling 77. New York Fed President John Williams says changes in lending conditions and their potential effects on economic activity and hiring would be a top focus as the central bank determines whether it's raised rates enough to bring down inflation. Thefts of Hyundai and Kia vehicles continue to rise despite a new software patch. Data from 7 cities gathered by the Associated Press shows the number of Hyundai and Kia thefts is still growing, despite the company's efforts to fix a glitch which makes more than 8 million vehicles relatively easy targets for thieves. Tempur Sealy's agreed to acquire Mattress Firm in a cash and stock transaction valued at about $4 billion. The company say they expect to complete the transaction in the second half of next year. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Rich Dennison, invested in you.
The Fearless and Proud podcast series looks at acts of bravery and strength by women. And in the first season, we'll look at women who played important roles in the Civil War. In episode 2, as the war approached their kitchen windows or as their own loved ones went off to fight, women decided to put on a uniform or disguise themselves and join the struggle in ways not seen before. We'll discuss how these women maintained their disguises and why the era's social mores helped their deception on both sides. Listen ad-free on Fox News Podcasts via Apple Podcasts, and Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on Amazon Music.
Called the meeting productive. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Biden says default is not an option as negotiations on the debt ceiling continue.
The president says he has considered invoking the 14th Amendment to avoid a debt default in as little as 3 weeks.
But the problem is it would have to be litigated. And in the meantime, without an extension, it would still end up in the same place.
The 14th Amendment, ratified after the Civil War, says the validity of the federal debt shall not be questioned. President Biden made that comment after meeting with the top 4 congressional leaders on raising the debt limit. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he's seen no new movement, reiterating the Republican position spending cuts must be a part of any agreement. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Biden says congressional and White House staffers will meet every day ahead of the next White House meeting with lawmakers on Friday. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce saying it's disappointed that no deal was reached, but is pleased all sides will meet again. President Biden says the U.S.-Mexico border will be chaotic for a while as Title 42, the pandemic-era health restriction that limited migrants entering the U.S. from the southern border, is set to end later this week. The president spoke spoke by phone with the president of Mexico for about an hour earlier today. He says border security is tied to the debt ceiling talks as Republicans wanted to make cuts.
We need more at the border, not less at the border.
The president saying the administration will work to make the change orderly, and the administration is sending about 1,500 troops to the southern border to aid an administrative task during the expected border surge. The office of California Senator Dianne Feinstein says the 89-year-old is returning to Washington after an absence of more than 2 months after having a bout of shingles while also facing calls to resign. America is listening to Fox News.
Good news, hard seltzer lovers. Neutral Vodka Seltzer is here. Made with vodka, seltzer, and real juice. It's a light and refreshing taste that will show you what hard seltzer can be. Try Neutral, the one with the umlaut. Copyright 2023 Neutral Distilled Spirit Specialty, Los Angeles, California. Enjoy responsibly.
More legal wrangling in the ongoing battle between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the Walt Disney Company.
Disney is amending its federal lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and his making good on threats to remove Disney's self-government. The company now says a new law putting Florida's transportation department in charge of inspecting the Disney World monorail for safety unfairly targets the company. Disney says the changes over Disney's oversight would mean it would be subject to state regulations as any other theme park or resort. Florida's legislature replaced Disney's self-governing district board in response to Disney promising to pressure lawmakers to overturn Florida's parental rights in education law. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
New Mexico would extend indefinitely free child care for most children up to age 5 with increased payment rates to private and public child care providers under proposed regulations announced Monday. The state's current child care subsidies, among the most expansive in the nation, were initiated with federal COVID relief money. About 72,000 children and 43,000 families are eligible for child care assistance under current rules. Another tweak in Amazon Prime's free delivery.
Amazon wants you to pick up your packages. Reuters says some Amazon Prime subscribers have received an offer from the company, $10 back to pick up an order of $25 or more from Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh, or Kohl's instead of having it delivered. The information says Amazon has started charging some customers a $1 fee if they return packages to a UPS location when there's an Amazon pickup return location closer to the delivery address. Amazon Prime now costs $139 a year, and the company has tightened rules on free delivery.
Fox's Ginny Casola. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
The Fearless and Proud podcast series looks at acts of bravery and strength by women. And in the first season, we'll look at women who played important roles in the Civil War. In episode 2, as the war approached their kitchen windows or as their own loved ones went off to fight, women decided to put on a uniform or disguise themselves and join the struggle in ways not seen before. We'll discuss how these women maintained their disguises and why the era's social mores helped their deception on both sides. Listen ad-free on Fox News Podcasts via Apple Podcasts, and Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on Amazon Music.
Welcome back, Southern Liberty. We in the building as always. Shout out to everybody in the live chat this evening. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I want to thank everybody listening in South Florida and Southeast Georgia. The good old state of Utah. I want to shout out to all the freedmen that are listening to the show this evening for the first time. I appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all stopping by. One thing I admire is people that have a cause they stand behind, and they stand behind that cause on justified reasons, whether or not we think as individuals it may be valid. When it comes to the whole reparations things, this, that, and the other, those people that are really down in the trenches, the freedmen and the descendants of freedmen, that are in the trenches in that fight, those guys and gals bring up true qualitative data on why, it's none of this running, but because of this oppression and they only base it on that, and that's all they have. And these guys over here, they'll take you down through there and explain, hey, this is what, and this is what they own this and this, that, and the third, and this was valued this. I mean, I give them credit. I give them a lot of credit for the movement. And, even though I don't agree with or disagree with it, right? But, the thing is that when you have a group of people asking for things, quote unquote, to from a government they deem that has done them wrong, right? And then they turn around and address others' wrongs overseas or in other places that's not even concerning the people. Mm-hmm. That's where I have a problem. Regardless if I agree with reparations or not. And this whole 14th Amendment thing really brought that to a forefront, to show people that, hey, this government really does not care about you and your team. Like I said before the break, right? Their team, right? And I'm not saying the freedmen, but I'm saying the folks that claim to be anti-racist and pro-black and BLM, the people they voted for is not acknowledging they're even entertaining reparations and telling them yes or no, but instead, again, they will raise the debt ceiling, right, and send money overseas than to take care of people on American soil, right? Because again, like I said before, if the president can unilaterally raise the debt ceiling through the 14th Amendment and send it overseas, they can raise the debt limit to cure homelessness. They can raise the debt limit, right, to get rid of food insecurity, get rid of food deserts. Mm-hmm. They could do all that, but they won't because they want to take your money and send it overseas.
They're liars.
Exactly.
And they're demons. Yes. Well, we know that. That's been established, right? I mean, in our community, we see what they're doing. It's like been visible for years and years. We're just watching this come to a head now, and it is coming to a head. I mean, I don't think too many people are missing that red flag at this point and not seeing how evil the world has become. And I mean the world. I don't think there's going to be, in the next couple of months, a safe city anywhere in the world.
Oh, no. I agree 100%. Oh, right? No, there won't be.
No, it's everywhere. This whole thing we're going through is everywhere. It's all-encompassing. So, we can stay here and fight over these little battles, and I give people credit that do that have the resilience to fight for their personal issues and their the things they stand for. But there's a big but here, and that is that it's so much bigger than these little issues. And I know we have to start somewhere, and I know we have to definitely work to protect our Constitution here, because we seem to be the only country that has a really good working Constitution. I guess there's a few other countries that do as well. But, there's such a small amount of us that has to give so much and do so much in a big way that it feels really overwhelming at times when you look at the big picture. I guess it's what you just said. It's better sometimes to just focus in on what's important to you because it is so big to take on. And you just get exhausted thinking about it. One of the big issues that I was looking at was this mapping project. And the mapping project is affecting all of us. Again, these issues are everywhere and affecting everything. But I happened to come across in the American Thinker today this article called The Watchers and the Watched. And the mapping project is basically, that they're setting up these cameras to get facial recognition. And it's especially happening in Israel with the Palestinians that come into the country. I suppose a lot of them every day. They work there. So it's the Israeli tracking system being compared to China's surveillance state.
Yep.
But what everybody forgets is that American tech giants sold China the technology.
It's convenient how we just breezed past that, right?
Yeah. So whatever damage Israel has done, with all this spyware, supposedly, it pales in comparison to the U.S. tech giants that built China's surveillance state. And then we're looking at Google and AI and all this crap. Look what they're doing to us. They're tracking us, everything. I could go online and say, oh, that's a pretty little basket to keep your vegetables in, and 2 seconds later, I have 15,000 ads on the page. And I'm like, how did this happen? And believe me, that's nothing compared to what they're doing to us. These tests, these COVID tests. And I was thinking about when I had my blood work done. I said, what the hell is going to happen to my blood work? Like, where's it going to end up? Is somebody reading my family history and that I took the jab or I didn't, or you could get paranoid over everything today. So, this whole pro-Palestinian mapping project, it caused a scandal. American Jews are worried about the same sort of surveillance that the Palestinians are going through now. The mapping of Jews terrifies them, as it should. And this guy says, I find myself mapping website unnerving, and I'm a Christian. Well, I think the Christians and the Jews should be very frightened of this mapping system because the Chinese are using it, because they don't want any of us around. Right?
I don't see a single lie you told.
It's like mirror. It's the bullfight. It's the bullfight.
Yeah.
Technology is our bullfight too, especially. For real. Yikes, yeah. Yeah, everything is yikes. So what do we have to do, Rod? We have to vanquish the noise.
Yeah.
Right? That's not part of us, right? Right? It's not us. And you have to say that every day. This is not me. This is not me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not taking part in this. I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing it, but I'm not,
hearing it.
I'm not hearing it.
Right. It's all noise. It's all noise. It's all hot garbage.
Yeah, and then our trust and our faith has to step in, because we have to trust that good old Tesla magnetism attracts you to what you need. And that includes the people you meet up with, where you end up, the decisions you make. You kind of have to trust the process that you're doing the right thing, whatever that is for you.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, somebody said the other night, dear God, before you take me home, show me the way.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And we've discussed, gee, at the end times, will we know which way to go? You go to the blue road, the red road, the middle road, the behind you road.
The yellow brick road.
The yellow, yeah, that's a good one. To the poppy fields, right?
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
we're in the fight. We're in the fight for humanity on a basic level, right? Because You know, it's this transhumanism movement that's doing all this, right? And y'all, when I'm talking about transhumanism, I'm talking about even going down to the mRNA, right? And how it's able to alter. We're talking about AI, right? We're talking about those projects like Elon Musk has, the Neuralink, right? They implant a chip in your brain. Like, we're in the fight for humanity right now. Forget everything else at this point. The politics are pushing us that way because people are distracted, but really down at the core, people, we are fighting for our humanity. Right. And, you know, I watched a lot of sci-fi movies growing up, and how, you know, Star Trek, for example, right? On the Next Generation, Lieutenant Commander Data, right? He was an android.
Yeah.
That's AI, right?
We liked him.
Yeah.
We liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was AI.
We never thought it could happen.
Nope.
We never thought 1984 would be here.
Nope, but here we are. Yep.
The Twilight Zone could be real. Watch some of those episodes over again. Wow.
Yeah, and we're here, right? We're here in this mess, right? Not thinking that these people were actually pre-programming us with this agenda heading towards transhumanism, right? So now, right now that they've used even down to its core, and this is going to be a longer discussion, right? At another time. But if we look at really how they kicked off transhumanism, right? Look, let's start with abortion, right? If you limit the amount of people that are being born, you can introduce a way to replace the shortage of workers. AI. Border. Right? Mm-hmm. Now that we've established that part, well, we're going to have AI, and then, now watch this, right? mRNA is just the start, right? Y'all listening to me, right? mRNA is just the start to be able to change the human genome, right? We've already gotten into robotics as limbs, right? It's not far of a reach to say that we're going to be able to have smart limbs. It's not a reach.
And add in a little 5G for control.
Right. Hello. Right. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was overseas for a particular part of time in my life, Belgium started off using. They started testing the bioengineering chip in your wrist that has all your information on it. Oh yeah. Right. All you had to do was flash your wrist up to the thing, and it'll tell you your driver's license number. It'll swipe your credit card, whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. Now let's look at what you carry in your wallet. That RFID chip. That's in your credit cards. But remember, they didn't put it in the credit cards and the bank cards first. They put it on your passports first. Yeah. They put it in your passports first, people. And they could track you within 100 miles of any border. And let's add this in while we're not joking. Even within 100 miles of an airport. Because remember, an airport or a seaport is also a border. So you are literally, if you carry a passport, unless you live in the Great Plains, you are literally under surveillance. Yeah. If they wanted, well, let's say they are, you're literally under surveillance.
It's frightening, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, even with that technology, the smart limbs, right? Going back to the medical, the smart limbs, let's talk about the $6 million man. Bionic Man. Mm-hmm. Back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this whole, and then now we have, not only have a depleted birth rate, now we're telling people you can switch your gender. Right? Right? Transhumanism, transgender, right? It's all the same agenda.
It is.
To limit the population and introduce a solution, right? A solution to shore up your workforce.
Be the slaves for the elite.
Right? And that transhumanism, right?
Yeah.
Watch this, y'all. Watch this, y'all. This transhumanism agenda also walks in lockstep with the green energy agenda.
Sure.
Y'all think about that.
Yep. Congregate in the little 15-minute cities. They have complete control over us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the power off out in the country. No one can survive.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, it's part of their master plan. But it's not ours. Guess what? It's not our plan.
Nope, not our plan.
As long as there's another plan, it's all good. You know, one of the things I pray for at this point, because you know, there's no going back at this point. Everything's about to shift gears, so to speak. I pray that the truth comes out as quickly as the lies are, so that we can save this country and our freedom in the nick of time.
Agreed. So agreed.
Yep.
So agreed.
Skin of our teeth.
Yeah, and I can't detect a single lie in what you said. Not a single lie. Zero. Zilch, zippo. No lies. Hey, I appreciate you, Miss Val, for coming through.
You're
as
welcome.
Always. I appreciate everybody in the live chat that came in, everybody listening on the open airways. Thank you. Special shout out to my freedmen that came through to listen. I appreciate y'all too. Make sure y'all stop back by Friday night for Fired Up Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll figure out what to talk about. I know what we're going to talk about, but I got to keep y'all in suspense. But anyway, until next time, y'all, have a blessed week. Have fun, life, love, liberty, and happiness. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Southern Liberty Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.bpmg.us or leave a rating and review on iTunes. To catch all the latest from Roderick, you can follow him on social media at manofjustice007. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.